Why textbook English doesn't work in real life. Let's begin with something honest. Most people who study English for years still struggle to speak it. Naturally, they've read the grammar books, they've completed exercises, they've memorized word lists, taken courses, and even passed tests. But when it comes to real world conversation, they freeze, they hesitate, they search for words. And the words that come out often sound robotic, stiff, or far too formal. If that's ever happened to you, this session is for you because today we're going to break down one of the biggest obstacles to becoming a fluent, confident English speaker: textbook English. Textbook English is designed for teaching, not for talking. It's built around rules, not rhythm. It's focused on correctness, not connection. And while grammar and vocabulary are important, they're only a part of real communication. Let's look at what's really going on and why so many learners get stuck. The problem with perfect English. From the beginning, most learners are told that fluency comes from correctness. If you study the grammar rules, memorize the vocabulary, and avoid mistakes, you'll become fluent. But that isn't how language works in real life. Language is messy, it's emotional, it's fast, flexible, and full of shortcuts. People don't speak in full, clean, rule-perfect sentences. Let's look at an example. Here's a typical sentence from a textbook. Hello, how are you? I'm going to the supermarket to buy some vegetables. Now imagine a native speaker saying the same thing in real life. Hey, what's up? I'm heading to the store. Need anything? Both sentences mean the same thing, but only one of them sounds like something you'd actually hear in everyday conversation. The first is grammatically correct but sounds formal and scripted. The second is casual, relaxed, and real. This is the gap that most learners fall into. They know how to build perfect sentences, but they haven't practiced how people actually speak. And here's the truth: real people do not speak like grammar books. Why this matters. When your English doesn't sound natural, it creates a few problems. You feel self-conscious. You know you don't sound fluent, so you hesitate or go silent. You can't keep up. Real conversations move quickly, and if you're thinking about grammar, you fall behind. You struggle to connect. People respond better when your speech sounds alive, emotional, and confident, not stiff and academic. The result? You avoid speaking, you stay silent, or you speak, but you don't feel like yourself. And that's a problem, because language isn't just about information, it's about connection. If you want to sound like a real person, you have to move beyond the textbook. Real English versus textbook English. Let's go deeper. Textbook English is carefully structured, slow and formal, rule-driven, neutral in tone, focused on grammar and vocabulary. Real English is fast and flexible, filled with contractions, slang, and idioms, emotionally expressive, often grammatically incorrect by textbook standards, focused on meaning, flow, and response. When native speakers talk, they drop words, change word order, emphasize tone, use body language, break grammar rules intentionally. And guess what? That's still fluent English. Here are some phrases you'll hear often. Gonna instead of going to. Wanna instead of want to. Lemme instead of let me. Dunno instead of I don't know. Kinda instead of kind of. You won't find these in most grammar books, but you'll hear them in nearly every conversation. So if your goal is to sound natural and confident, your training has to reflect how English is actually spoken, not just how it's written in books, how this affects your brain. Now let's talk about your brain. When you learn English the textbook way, your brain creates habits based on rules, not rhythm. You start thinking like this: what's the correct verb tense here? Should I use a or the? Is this word countable or uncountable? But fluent speakers don't think that way in conversation. They don't build sentences. They produce them automatically. They speak in chunks, in rhythms, in phrases they've heard 1,000 times. If you're always trying to construct perfect sentences in your head, you'll never speak with flow. You'll always sound like someone reading from a script. To break this habit, you need to retrain your brain. You need to start hearing and repeating real English, not academic English. And you need to build speaking reflexes, not just knowledge. Why speaking is a physical skill. Here's something most learners forget. Speaking is not just a mental activity, it's a physical one. Your mouth, tongue, lips, breath, they all need training. Just like athletes train their muscles, speakers train their voice. If you've only read English, your mouth hasn't practiced forming the sounds, the flow, the rhythm of real speech. That's why shadowing, speaking along with audio, is so powerful. You're not just learning the words, you're training your voice. You're copying real tone, speed, and emotion. You're building muscle memory, and over time, that memory becomes fluency. Why this series exists. This is why this series exists, to help you break free from textbook English, to help you sound real, to help you think, speak, and connect in English like yourself. We're not here to make you perfect. We're here to help you become authentic, confident, and natural. In this series, you'll train with real spoken English. You'll practice how native speakers actually communicate, and you'll build a speaking style that feels like you, not like a test. What's coming next? In the next session, we'll begin exploring what real spoken English actually sounds like. In detail, you'll learn the core habits that fluent speakers share, the rhythm and tone of daily conversation, how to start shifting your speech away from the textbook and into the real world. So for now, just remember this. You don't need to sound perfect, you need to sound real, and real is what we'll train together. What real spoken English actually sounds like. Welcome back. In segment 1, we explored the gap between textbook English and real conversation. We discovered how focusing only on grammar, rules, and structure can actually slow down your fluency and make your speech feel robotic. Now it's time to go deeper. Let's look at what real spoken English actually sounds like. Because to speak like a real person, you need to understand the rhythm, patterns, and tone of how real people communicate. And here's the truth. Fluent English is not perfect English. It's not polished. It's not always correct. It's emotional. It's fast. It's built on rhythm and habit, not memorized rules. Let's break this down. Spoken English is built on sound, not just words. One of the biggest misconceptions learners have is this. They think that if they know the words, they know the language. But knowing words isn't enough. Spoken English is not just about what you say. It's about how you say it. Let's take a simple phrase. Textbook version. I do not know. Real spoken version. Dunno. Just one sound, one motion, one expression. The meaning is the same, but the delivery, totally different. This is the first rule of real English. Spoken English is sound-based, not grammar-based. Natural speech is full of reductions and contractions. Native speakers often shorten, blend, or reduce their words in everyday conversation. These changes aren't mistakes. They're natural and expected. Let's look at some examples. Full textbook form. Real spoken version. I am going to. I'm gonna. Do you want to? Do you wanna? Let me help you. Let me help you. What are you doing? What you doing? I have got to go. I've got to go. I do not know. Dunno. These aren't slang. They're normal spoken contractions used by everyone: students, teachers, professionals, even news reporters. You won't hear people saying, I'm going to the market, as often as you'll hear, I'm going to hit the store. If your ear is only trained on slow, clear textbook English, real speech will sound fast and confusing. But once you start recognizing these patterns, it becomes easier, even enjoyable, to listen, learn, and join in. Rhythm and rhythm, stress, drive, meaning. Another big part of real spoken English is rhythm. In English, we don't stress every word equally. Some words are strong and clear, others are soft and fast. This creates a rhythm that carries the emotion and intention of what's being said. Let's take a sentence like, I didn't say he stole the money. Now say that sentence out loud, but each time change the stressed word. I didn't say he stole the money. 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 Each version has a different meaning, even though the words stay the same. That's the power of intonation, the way your voice rises and falls to express meaning. In real English, how you say something matters as much as what you say. This is why some people can speak perfect grammar and still not be understood, because their tone, stress, and rhythm are off. To sound natural, you must train your ear and practice rhythm and stress. This is a speaking skill, not a grammar rule. Real conversations are not linear. Here's another thing textbooks don't prepare you for. Real conversations are messy. People interrupt each other, change subjects, use incomplete sentences, say, you know, and like. Talk with emotion, sarcasm, hesitation, or excitement. Let's look at a real conversation. A. You coming tonight? B. Not sure. Kinda tired. What time does it start? A. Like 8, I think. Jake's bringing food. B. Oh, might swing by, depends on work. A. Cool, no pressure. Now imagine how a textbook would present that. A. Are you going to the party tonight? B. I'm not sure. I'm a little tired. What time does it begin? A. It begins at 8 o'clock. Jake is bringing food. B. Maybe I will come. It depends on my job. A. Okay, it's your decision. The difference is huge. The first one sounds real. The second sounds robotic. So ask yourself, which one are you practicing? Vocabulary. You'll actually use. Spoken English uses a different vocabulary set than written English. Textbooks often teach words like purchase, automobile, reside, assistance. But in conversation, we say buy, car, live, help. Yes, formal words exist, and they're important in writing, but in speaking, simple words are used more often, and they carry more emotion. We don't say, I require transportation to the workplace. We say, I need a ride to work. To sound real, you need to think and speak simply, not academically. Emotion is part of the language. Real English is emotional. It's not neutral or mechanical. The same sentence can be spoken with sarcasm, anger, excitement, sadness, surprise. And it will mean different things based on the emotion behind it. That's why practicing with feeling is just as important as pronunciation. If you want to speak like a real person, you have to sound like one. So when you practice phrases, don't just say them, perform them, put yourself in a situation. Speak like you mean it. What you can do now. Here are 5 things you can start doing today to sound more like a real English speaker. Shadow real conversations. Play audio, pause, repeat out loud with the same tone and speed. Use contractions naturally. Practice saying I'm, he's, there, raids, we've until they feel automatic. Simplify your speech. Use simple common words that match everyday usage. Practice emotional delivery. Don't just read and feel the sentence. Say it happy, say it frustrated, say it excited, record and review yourself. Listen to how you sound. Compare it to native speech. Adjust with purpose. What's next? In the next segment, we'll look at one of the most important shifts for sounding real. Stop memorizing words. Start interacting with phrases. You'll learn how to train your speech using word clusters, sentence frames, and response patterns, just like native speakers do without even thinking about it. Until then, remember this: you don't need to sound perfect, you need to sound real. And real starts with rhythm, emotion, and confidence. Stop memorizing, start interacting. Welcome back. So far, we've explored why textbook English often fails in real conversations. We've looked at how native speakers use rhythm, reductions, emotion, and natural phrasing, and how that's very different from what most learners are taught. Now it's time to break one of the oldest habits in language learning: memorizing single words and rules instead of interacting with real language. In this session, we'll help you stop approaching English like a list of facts and start approaching it like a living experience. You'll discover how language is built through interaction, not memorization, and why this mindset shift can dramatically speed up your fluency. Let's begin. Memorizing words feels productive, but isn't enough. When you're learning a language, memorizing vocabulary feels like progress. You study a word, you write it down, you review it, you feel like you're building your language bank. But then comes the test, a real conversation. You know the words, but suddenly your brain goes blank. The right word doesn't come, or it does, but too slowly. Or you hesitate, second guess yourself, and miss the moment. Why? Because you've studied the word but not used it. You've memorized vocabulary in isolation, not in context. And language doesn't live in isolation. Words don't work alone. Here's a truth that changes everything. Native speakers don't speak in words, they speak in phrases, in patterns, in combinations. Let's look at an example. Textbook learners might memorize the word opinion. They learn the meaning, maybe a few translations. But a fluent speaker doesn't say, my opinion, good, strong, topic, this. They say things like, in my opinion, I honestly think that what I believe is, if you ask me. These are called chunks or collocations, natural word combinations that are used together often. You don't just say make and decision. You say make a decision. You don't say big and mistake. You say a huge mistake. You don't say study and hard. You say study hard or put in the work. And the more of these natural combinations you know, the more fluent, real, and fast you sound. The problem with isolated memorization. Here's another challenge. When you study English through isolated vocabulary lists or flashcards, your brain treats the language like data. But speaking English isn't like solving a math equation, it's more like playing music. You don't pause every note. You learn the flow. Language is rhythm, it's context, it's interaction. When you only memorize words, your speech becomes slow and mechanical, like assembling a puzzle piece by piece. But when you train with phrases and patterns, your brain starts retrieving whole ideas, not individual words. This is how native speakers can speak quickly without thinking about grammar. They've built up thousands of speech reflexes, common combinations of words that fire automatically. You can do the same. Think in phrases, not words. Let's try something. Instead of learning the word idea, learn the phrase, I've got an idea. That's actually a great idea. Not sure if it's a good idea, but instead of just time, learn. Do you have a second? I didn't have time to. It's time to move on. Let's not waste time. Notice how much more useful this is? Instead of just one word, you're learning how real people use that word in a sentence. You're building ready to use expressions you can plug into conversations. And more importantly, you're reducing hesitation. Because when your brain has a full phrase ready, you don't have to build a sentence from scratch. You just speak. Learn language in context. So, how do you start training like this? Here's a simple rule. Don't study words, study situations. Instead of learning 20 new words in a list, learn 3 to 5 phrases for a specific situation. For example, let's say you're learning English for job interviews. Don't just learn experience, skills, and position. Instead, learn, I have 3 years of experience in. I'm very comfortable working with. This role really aligns with my goals. One of my strengths is what I'd bring to the team is. Now you're preparing for a real conversation. You're building your voice for the actual context. You're learning language you can use, not just understand. Use it or lose it. One of the biggest traps learners fall into is passive knowledge. They know the word, but they've never used it. And so in real-time conversation, the brain freezes. There's only one cure for this. Speak, often out loud, even if you're alone. Language is a skill, yours is not just a memory. It must be performed, not stored. If you want to sound natural, you need to practice speaking the way real people speak. That means repeating, shadowing, improvising, and talking to yourself if needed. You might feel awkward at first. That's okay. You're training, you're rewiring your reflexes, and with consistent effort, your speaking will become faster, smoother, and more automatic. The power of response patterns. Let's introduce a powerful tool, response patterns. These are sentence frames you can adapt in real conversations. For example, honestly, I think, to be honest, it depends on if it were up to me. I'm not sure, but I'd say these patterns help you buy time, express opinions, and stay in the flow. They reduce the fear of silence. They give your speech rhythm, and they're easy to remember because they're short, common, and repeated, often in natural speech. Start collecting them. Practice them out loud. Use them in your next English conversation. What you can do. Starting today, here are 5 practical steps to move from memorizing to interacting. Stop memorizing word lists. Instead, learn phrases in real context. Shadow native phrases, play a sentence, pause, repeat with the same rhythm and emotion. Keep a phrase journal. Write down natural expressions you hear and review them daily. Practice speaking in chunks. Don't build sentences word by word. Train your mouth to speak in units. Use audio over text. Train your ear. Read less. Listen more. What's coming next? In the next segment, we'll take this one step further. You'll learn how to improve your speaking flow through rhythm, tone, and pacing. Just like a musician practices timing and beat, you'll learn how to pause how to emphasize, and how to sound clear, not stiff. Because the secret to natural English isn't speed, it's flow. Until then, keep practicing phrases, not just words. Interact with English like a real person. And remember, you're not studying a language, you're learning to live in it. The power of pausing, emphasis, and tone. Welcome to segment 4. In the last session, we talked about moving from memorizing single words to interacting with full phrases. You learned why phrases are more powerful than isolated vocabulary and how they help build fluency in a real world context. Now we take it even further because even if you have the right words, the right phrases, and decent grammar, something might still feel off in your speaking. Your message is correct, but your delivery sounds flat. You say the right thing, but people don't always follow your meaning. You speak fluently, but still sound robotic, rehearsed, or unsure. What's missing? Pausing, emphasis, tone, the musical elements of English, the parts that bring speech to life. And today, we're going to train that side of your English. This is where you stop sounding like a textbook and start sounding like a human being. Speaking is music. Think about your favorite songs. They don't just deliver words, they use pauses, beats, emotion. There's rhythm, rise, and fall. The melody tells part of the story, well, not just the lyrics. English is like that too. Spoken English is not a machine reading out data. It's music made from breath, timing, and feeling. If you only focus on grammar and pronunciation and ignore rhythm and tone, your speech will always sound flat. But when you control your pauses, adjust your emphasis, and modulate your tone, you create real connection. This is what makes people stop and listen. This is how you build presence in English. Pausing. The unsung hero of natural speech. Let's start with pausing. Most learners are afraid of pauses. They think, if I pause, people will think I don't know English. So they try to fill every second and end up speaking too fast without control. But in real speech, pausing is powerful. It helps you. Breathe, think, emphasize. Meaning, control the conversation. Sound calm and confident. Even native speakers pause, often. The difference is that they pause naturally, not awkwardly. Let me give you an example. Say this out loud in one breath. I think what we really need is a new strategy. Now say it with pauses. I think what we really need is a new strategy. Can you feel the difference? The second version feels more confident. It gives space for your listener to absorb your meaning, and it gives you time to stay in control. Pauses aren't a sign of weakness. They're a sign of thoughtfulness. They show that you're present, focused, and in command of your words. Emphasis. What you stress matters. Next, let's talk about emphasis, the art of choosing which word to stress in a sentence. In English, not all words are equal. Some words carry the weight, others support the meaning. Look at this simple sentence. I didn't say he stole the money. Now try putting emphasis on different words. I didn't say he stole the money. Someone else did. I didn't say he stole the money. I didn't say it at all. I didn't say he stole the money. Maybe I hinted but didn't say it. I didn't say he stole the money. Someone else might have. I didn't say he stole the money. Maybe he borrowed it. I didn't say he stole the money. Not that money. Another one. I didn't say he stole the money. He stole something else. One sentence, 7 meanings, all based on emphasis. If you say every word with equal stress, your message becomes unclear. But when you learn to control which word gets the energy, you control your message. Native speakers do this automatically. You can train it consciously. Tone, the emotional layer. Now let's talk about tone. The way your voice rises, falls, softens, or strengthens to express emotion. Tone is what makes your words feel alive. It tells your listener not just what you're saying, but how you feel about it. Let's use a simple phrase again. That's great. Now say it happily. That's great. Say it sarcastically. That's great. Say it flat with no interest. That's great. Three versions, same words, different tone, different meaning. In real conversation, tone is your emotional body language. It shows warmth, annoyance, excitement, hesitation, sincerity. Textbooks rarely teach this, but it's one of the most important parts of speaking naturally. If your words say, I'm excited, but your tone is flat, your message is lost. But when your tone and message match, people feel your communication. This is what helps you connect. This is what makes your English real, what you can practice. Today, let's turn this into real practice. Here are 5 things you can do today to improve your pause, emphasis, and tone. Shadow real conversations. Find short clips of real English, not scripted. Pause, repeat with the same pauses and tone. Record yourself. Take one sentence. Record yourself saying it 5 different ways. Play it back. Adjust. Slow down. Don't rush. Use silence as a tool. Let your sentences breathe. Stress only the key word in each sentence. Choose one important word to emphasize. Practice it clearly. Perform. Don't just read. If you're saying I'm excited, then sound excited. Don't just pronounce the words, act them. Spoken English is a performance, not a test. Here's a mindset shift that can change everything. When you speak English, you're not taking an exam. You're not proving what you know. You're performing, communicating, connecting. Think of actors, they memorize lines, sure. But what makes them believable is how they deliver those lines. Their pauses, their expressions, their tone. You don't need to be dramatic, but you do need to speak with feeling. Because people don't just hear your words, they feel your message. And when your message has rhythm, emphasis, and tone, your English becomes real. What's coming next? In the next segment, we'll explore how to bring emotion into your English. Not just through tone, but through choice of words, expressions, and delivery. You'll learn why sounding natural means feeling what you say, and how to develop emotional fluency, not just verbal fluency. Until then, practice your pauses, feel your sentences, use tone as your secret weapon, and remember, you don't need more words, you need more rhythm. That's how you speak like a real person. Real English means real emotions. Welcome back. So far in this series, we've worked on closing the gap between textbook English and the way real people speak. In the last segment, we explored how rhythm, pausing, emphasis, and tone completely transform how you sound. You learn that fluency is not only about what you say about Barrett, but how you say it. Now, in this segment, we go even deeper. Today, we talk about a hidden skill that makes fluent speakers stand out. A skill that textbooks almost never teach. That skill is emotional fluency. Because here's the truth. If you want to sound like a real English speaker, not a textbook robot, you must be able to speak with feeling. Let's break down how to train this part of your voice. Language is not just information, it's emotion. Many learners think of English as something to be memorized. Words, definitions, grammar, structures. But language isn't just a system of rules. It's a tool for expressing how you feel, what you want, and what matters to you. Think about how you use your first language. Do you only talk about facts? Or do you joke? Do you comfort? Do you express love, stress, joy, anger? English should be no different. But when learners focus only on correctness, they often disconnect from emotion. They focus on saying the sentence right, but forget to say it real. That's the difference between "I'm happy to meet you" and "Hey, great to meet you." Same meaning, different emotion, different energy. Real English flows with emotion, and your voice should too. How emotion changes. Meaning, let's take the same sentence again. "I'm fine." Now say it, cold and short. "I'm fine." You're annoyed. Light and happy. "I'm fine." You're okay, maybe even cheerful. Hesitant and quiet. "I'm fine." You might not be okay. Same words, three very different messages. In English, nay, especially spoken English, emotion lives in your tone, timing, and body language, not just your vocabulary. This is why native speakers often sound expressive even when using simple language, and it's why advanced learners can still sound flat if they speak without emotional control. Fluency is not just words, it's connection, and connection comes through shared emotional energy. Expressive phrases versus plain phrases. Let's compare how English sounds when it's flat versus when it's emotional. Textbook speech. "I don't agree with that. That makes me feel sad. I think that is a good idea." Now, real emotional versions. "Honestly, I don't see it that way." "Ugh, that really hit me hard." "That sounds awesome." "Seriously." See the difference? When you speak emotionally, you choose words that reflect how you actually feel. You use natural expressions. Your tone shifts, your energy changes, and suddenly people listen. Because now you don't sound like you're reading a sentence. You sound like a human being with something real to say. Emotional vocabulary that sounds natural. Let's go over a few emotional expressions that are commonly used in real English. Happiness. "That's amazing. I'm so excited for this. Can't wait. This made my day." Frustration or disappointment. "Ugh, not again. That's really annoying. I was so upset. Totally threw me off." Surprise. "No way. Wait, seriously? You got to be kidding. That's insane." Empathy or support. "I hear you. That must have been tough. Totally understand how you feel. I'm here for you." These expressions don't require complicated grammar, but they carry emotional meaning, and that's what makes them powerful. Start collecting emotional phrases. Use them. Practice them out loud. Speak not just with your brain, but with your whole self. Don't be afraid to act. Here's something most learners have never been told. Speaking English is a little like acting. Think of it this way: actors learn lines, but what makes them believable is how they say those lines, how they put emotion into the performance. You can do the same. When you say something, don't just pronounce the words. Perform the message. Let your voice rise when you're excited. Let it drop when you're tired or serious. Let your face show what you feel. Let your hands move if they want to. This isn't about being dramatic, it's about being real. Native speakers use their whole body when they talk: voice, hands, face, tone, pauses. You're not just learning a language, you're learning to express yourself through that language. Emotional control, channel natural confidence. Here's something powerful. When you can express emotion in English, you feel more in control of your voice. You don't feel stuck. You don't feel like a student. You feel like a person. This confidence shows up in conversation. People respond better to your energy, they feel your emotion, and you feel less nervous because you're no longer focused on perfection, you're focused on connection. In this way, emotional fluency becomes the bridge between language learner and confident speaker. Practice tips for emotional fluency. Here are 5 practical ways to start training your emotional fluency today. Watch scenes from TV shows. Focus on how actors use tone and emotion. Pause, mimic, repeat. Take simple sentences and change the emotion. Say, I'm fine, like you're happy, angry, sad, bored. Practice storytelling. Tell a short story from your day using real emotional expressions. Record yourself. Pick a phrase like, that's amazing, and record it in 3 different emotional styles. Talk to yourself with feeling. In your room, during a walk, practice speaking with real emotion as if you're talking to a friend. The more you train this, the more natural it becomes. And when emotion becomes natural, your English becomes human. What's coming next? In the next segment, we'll talk about some of the most common mistakes that make learners sound like a textbook and how to fix them. You'll learn how to eliminate the stiffness from your speech, sound more relaxed, and break habits that are holding you back. Until then, remember this. Real fluency isn't just knowing English, it's feeling in English. And when you learn to express emotion, you become more than fluent. You become free. Common mistakes that make you sound like a textbook. Welcome back. In segment 5, we focused on emotional fluency, how to speak English with feeling, not just form. You learned how tone, expression, and emotional vocabulary make your English sound more human, more relatable, and more real. But even with all that progress, certain habits can still hold you back. Habits that make your English feel forced. Habits that make you sound like a textbook. So, in this segment, we're going to identify those mistakes and, most importantly, show you how to fix them. Because speaking naturally is not just about what you add, it's also about what you remove. Let's get into it. Mistake 1. Speaking too formally in casual situations. One of the most common mistakes learners make is over-formality. You meet someone casually and say, "Hello, how do you do? I hope you're enjoying your day." While technically correct, it doesn't match the situation. It sounds stiff and unnatural. What would a native speaker say? "Hey, how's it going? What's up? How have you been? Good to see you." Fluency is not about using the most formal version of English in every situation. It's about matching your language to the moment. When you're too formal in a relaxed setting, you create emotional distance. You sound rehearsed, or worse, uncomfortable. The fix? Learn casual equivalents for your phrases. Practice sounding more relaxed, especially in introductions, small talk, and daily communication. Mistake 2. Speaking in full, perfect sentences. Another classic mistake is thinking you need to speak in complete, grammatically perfect sentences all the time. For example, "I cannot attend the meeting because I have another obligation at that time." Accurate? Yes. Natural? Not really. Now compare that to "can't make it, got something else then." "I'll miss this one, got another thing lined up." These are how real people speak, especially when they're comfortable. We cut unnecessary words, we simplify structure, we respond quickly and naturally. This doesn't mean grammar isn't important. It means that in real-time speaking, efficiency and flow matter more than textbook perfection. So instead of trying to build perfect sentences every time, try responding with clear, short, natural phrasing. Mistake 3. Avoiding contractions. Many learner 9, especially in formal training, are told not to use contractions. So they say, I do not know. He is not coming. I cannot do that. But in real conversation, contractions are everywhere. I don't know. He is not coming. I can't do that. Refusing to use contractions can instantly make you sound unnatural, even robotic. Worse, it creates a rhythm that doesn't match native speech. If you're still avoiding contractions out of habit or fear of mistakes, break that habit. Practice them until they become automatic. It will dramatically improve the flow and realism of your speaking. Mistake 4. Using literal translations. When learners think in their native language and then translate directly into English, the result often sounds strange, even if the grammar is correct. For example, it makes cold today. He entered in the room. I have 25 years. These are word for word translations from other languages, but in English, the natural phrasing would be, it's cold today. He came into the room. I'm 25 years old. The fix: stop translating, start listening. The more you expose yourself to real English, the more these correct patterns will feel familiar. Don't just memorize rules. Internalize natural speech through listening, repetition, and real interaction. Mistake 5. Overusing rare or academic words. Sometimes learners think that the more complicated their vocabulary, the better they sound. So they say things like, I endeavor to commence the project shortly. The ambience of the establishment was most agreeable. I'm experiencing substantial fatigue. Again, these are correct, I'd, but too formal, too complex for most everyday conversation. Real English is often simple, direct, emotional. I'm going to start soon. That place had a great vibe. I'm so tired. Using rare words makes you sound like a textbook size, or even like you're showing off. Fluent speakers use plain words in powerful ways. So the key is to master the simple words first and use them with natural rhythm and feeling. Mistake 6. Not using fillers or hesitations. Textbooks teach you to be efficient, clean, direct, but real people, we hesitate, we pause, we say, you know, well, like, I mean, and that's normal. These are called fillers, and when used moderately, they make you sound more natural, more like a person thinking in real time, not reciting lines. Too many fillers, it becomes distracting. Too few, you might sound too robotic. So try practicing them. Well, I'm not sure. I've actually never been there. Like it was kind of weird. Balance is key, but don't avoid them completely because fluent speakers don't. Mistake 7. Always playing it safe. This one is more emotional than technical. A lot of learners only say what they're 100% sure is correct. They limit themselves to simple words and safe phrases. The result? You never grow, you never stretch, you stay stuck. Real fluency requires risk. Trying new phrases, expressing opinions, playing with tone, making mistakes. The only way to sound natural is to practice sounding natural, even if that means messing up along the way. Think of your voice like a musical instrument. You can't become expressive if you never explore new notes. What you can do now, let's recap the fixes for each mistake and turn them into action steps. Match your tone to the situation. Formal isn't always better. Learn casual responses, let go of perfect sentences, aim for clear, natural responses, even if they're short. Use contractions. Practice until they become automatic. They improve flow instantly. Stop translating. Immerse yourself in real English. Listen, repeat, and absorb natural phrasing. Simplify your vocabulary. Use common expressive words. Focus on tone and delivery. Use some filler. They help you sound more human. Use them to buy time and think out loud. Take risks in speaking. Try new phrases. Make mistakes. That's how you grow. If you take just one of these and focus on it this week, your speech will feel more relaxed, natural, and confident. But if you practice all of them consistently, you'll start speaking like a real person, not a grammar machine. What's coming next? In the next segment, we'll build on what you've learned by showing you how to think and speak in word clusters, how to group words the way native speakers do to improve flow and rhythm. Because fluency isn't just about words, it's about how words move together. Until then, reflect on your speaking habits. Where do you sound stiff? Where can you relax, simplify, or personalize your English? Small changes, big transformation. Think in phrases, not individual words. Welcome back. We are now deep into this journey from textbook English to real natural fluency. By now, you've learned why grammar isn't enough. You've learned to use tone, rhythm, contractions, and emotion to sound more human. You've learned how to avoid common mistakes that make your speech sound stiff. Now, it's time to unlock one of the most powerful fluency techniques of all. Thinking in phrases, not words. This shift alone can take you from hesitant and slow to smooth, confident, and real. Let's explore how and why. What does thinking in phrases actually mean? Most learners are trained to study individual words. They learn book, read, library, information. They try to translate each word into their native language and then use those pieces to build a sentence. That sounds logical, but it doesn't work well in real-time conversation. Why? Because language isn't built from words, it's built from phrases. Phrases are pre-built word combinations that carry meaning as a unit. Examples. I'm not sure. That sounds good. It's up to you. At the end of the day, I have no idea. These aren't just word combos. They're speech patterns that native speakers use all the time. They're fast, natural, emotionally accurate. When you start thinking in these patterns, your English becomes automatic. You stop translating, you start responding. Why thinking in words? Slows you down. Let's imagine this situation. Someone asks you, "Hey, do you want to grab lunch?" Now, if you think word by word, your brain has to process. Do. Okay. Auxiliary verb. You. Pronoun. Want. Verb. To grab. Wait, does that mean eat? Lunch? Okay, I know that one. Then you think of your reply. But instead of speaking, your brain is still translating back and forth. You hesitate, you panic, you speak slowly or say nothing. Now compare that to someone who thinks in phrases. They've heard grab lunch before. They've practiced responses like, yeah, sure, I'm starving. Sounds good. I just ate, but I'll join you. Their brain doesn't need to build a sentence. It just retrieves a ready-made pattern. And that's the secret. Fluent speakers don't build every sentence from zero. They retrieve common phrases. This is how native speakers speak so fast and so naturally. You can do the same. Examples of useful everyday phrases. Let's look at real-life phrases that will help you stop thinking word by word, making decisions. Let me think. I'm leaning toward, not quite sure yet. That could work. Agreeing or disagreeing. That's true. I see your point. I'm not so sure about that. Exactly. Expressing emotion. That drives me crazy. I'm so into this. That made my day. I wasn't expecting that. everyday actions. I'm heading out. Let's catch up soon. It slipped my mind. I messed up. Each of these is short, natural, and emotionally meaningful. They're easy to memorize as a unit, and they sound 10 times more natural than individual words stacked together. Why this works for your brain. There's a reason this works, and it's supported by cognitive science. When you think in individual words, you overload your short-term memory. You try to hold too many things at once: grammar rules, word meanings, sentence structure. But when you think in chunks, your brain processes language faster and with less effort. It's the same way you remember phone numbers or song lyrics, not digit by digit, not word by word, but in patterns. Once a phrase is internalized, you don't need to think about it, you just say it. This is how fluency works, and how to stop sounding like you're trying to speak English. How to train this skill. Let's go over 5 practical ways to start thinking in phrases instead of words. 1. Collect real-life phrases. Keep a journal or notes app with expressions you hear in real conversations, TV shows, podcasts, or videos. Don't just write down definitions, write full examples. Example, phrase, I'm not really into it, used in, I'm not really into horror movies. Variation, she's really into yoga these days. Study it, repeat it, speak it. 2. Use phrase banks, not word lists. If you're still learning vocabulary one word at a time, stop. Start using phrase banks, collections of useful real-world sentences. Instead of help, need. Project. Study. Can I give you a hand? Do you need anything else? I've been working on this project for hours. This makes speaking easier and listening more intuitive. 3. Shadow full phrases. Find videos or audio of native speakers. Play a sentence. Pause. Repeat the entire phrase with the same rhythm and tone. Don't break it into words. Copy the whole sound. This helps your brain and mouth connect the music of English with real-life use. 4. Speak in phrases daily. Talk to yourself out loud. Narrate your day using phrases. Let's get started. Almost there. This is taking forever. I'll grab a snack. By using these casually in low-pressure situations, you build automatic recall. So when you're in a conversation, they're already ready. 5. Practice fill in the blank drills. Take a common phrase and practice using different endings. I'm thinking of going out, calling him, starting yoga. I don't really feel like doing this, agree with that, understand it. It's kind of annoying, confusing, exciting. This keeps the core phrase fixed and builds flexibility around it. The mental shift: stop translating, start responding. Here's what you must remember. The goal is not to speak perfect English. The goal is to respond naturally. With expressions that feel right, thinking in phrases does exactly that. It helps you speak faster, sound more native, understand better, feel more confident. And once you trust these patterns, speaking stops feeling like hard work. It becomes part of your instinct. What's coming next? In the final segment, we'll bring everything together. We'll give you a simple, powerful routine to continue training these skills every day and share a message of hope, confidence, and inspiration to carry forward on your English journey. You've come this far. You've broken the rules of textbook English. Now it's time to step fully into the real version of your voice. Fluent, not perfect. And the journey ahead. Welcome to the final segment. You've made it through 7 powerful sessions. You've unlearned what's holding you back and started building the tools for real, natural English. the kind people actually speak and respond to. Now, in this final part, we're going to bring it all together. You'll learn why perfection is not the goal. Why sounding like a real person is better than sounding like a grammar book. And most importantly, how to keep growing, even when it's hard. This is not just about speaking English, it's about trusting yourself. It's about using your voice and believing that it matters. Let's begin. The myth of perfection. Most English learners carry a fear that if they don't speak perfectly, they shouldn't speak at all. They worry about grammar, about accents, about pronunciation. They feel like their mistakes make them look less intelligent. But the truth is, no one speaks perfectly, not even native speakers. We all pause. We all forget words. We all correct ourselves mid sentence. So, chasing perfection is not only unrealistic, it's damaging. It holds you back from the one thing that really matters: connection. You're not here to impress people with your grammar. You're here to express yourself clearly and confidently. Real communication is not about perfect words, it's about meaning, emotion, and presence. Fluency is connection, not complexity. Many learners believe fluency means using big words or sounding advanced, but the most fluent people are not the ones who know the fanciest vocabulary. They're the ones who can connect naturally in real time. They listen, they react, they speak simply but effectively, they laugh, they hesitate, they explain things clearly. That's fluency. If you can respond smoothly, express how you feel, and understand others with ease, you are fluent even if you make grammar mistakes, even if your accent is strong, even if your vocabulary is limited. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present and expressive. Real world English is messy, and that's okay. Real conversations are full of incomplete sentences, repeated words, and emotional messiness. People interrupt, they talk over each other, they change topics halfway through a thought. This is normal. If you expect conversations to match the clean examples from your textbook, you'll feel lost. But once you accept the imperfect nature of real English, it becomes easier. Instead of thinking, that's not correct, you start thinking, that's how people really talk. And the more you expose yourself to real language in podcasts, interviews, videos, casual chats, the more this messy, natural English becomes your normal. And when it becomes normal, it becomes yours. Your daily routine for lifelong growth fluency doesn't come from one big effort. It comes from small, consistent practice every day. Here's a routine you can follow, even if you only have 30 minutes. 1. Listen actively. Choose real English content, podcasts, interviews, vlogs. Listen for rhythm, tone, and emotion, not just meaning. 2. Shadow short phrases. Pick 5 to 10 natural phrases and repeat them out loud. Mimic tone, emotion, and speed. 3. Speak out loud. Every day, talk to yourself. Narrate your day, tell stories. Respond to imaginary questions. Make your voice a daily habit. 4. Collect real phrases. Keep a journal of natural expressions, not single words, phrases. Use them in your daily speech. 5. Reflect weekly. Ask yourself, am I speaking more naturally? Do I hesitate less? Am I enjoying the process? That reflection builds self-awareness, and self-awareness builds confidence. Believe in your voice. Right now, there may still be moments where you feel unsure, moments where your English feels not good enough, moments where you compare yourself to others and feel behind. That's okay. Every speaker, even native speakers, has doubts. But your voice deserves to be heard. Your thoughts deserve to be shared. Your story matters, asikizasa, in any language. Don't wait for your English to be perfect before you use it. Use it and it will improve. Use it with feeling and it will become powerful. The more you speak, the more you believe in your ability to speak. And that belief, that's what transforms learners into speakers. This is not the end. It's the launch. If you made it through this series, here's what you've done. You've stopped chasing perfect grammar. You've learned to speak with rhythm and emotion. You've embraced mistakes. You've learned to think in phrases, not words. You've trained your ear and your voice. You've become more real, more expressive, more you. In English, that is not small. That is not easy. That is the foundation of real fluency. But it's just the beginning. Your growth doesn't stop here. From today, every conversation, every mistake, every sentence is a step forward. So take pride in where you are, but stay excited for where you're going. Your English voice is already alive. Now let it grow. A message for you. You are not just learning a language, you're building confidence, you're expanding your world, you're learning how to speak, how to listen, how to connect on a global level. You have what it takes. You've already proven that by finishing this journey, so keep going, stay consistent, stay brave, and always remember you don't have to sound perfect. You just have to sound like you. Thank you and final words. If this series has helped you feel more confident, if it has helped you sound more real, if it has inspired you to keep growing, then we invite you to stay connected. Like this video to support the message. Comment below and share your experience. And don't forget to subscribe for more English learning and motivation sessions. This is not a course, this is a journey, and we're walking it with you. Thank you for trusting your voice. Thank you for being here. We'll see you in the next session. Until then, keep speaking, keep learning, and most importantly, keep being real.